I'm Vicky and I run a social enterprise called Bread and Butter. We teach the basic life skills of cookery and healthy, independent, sustainable living. In this video today, I'm going to give you my top tips for smart cooking for a family. Cooking for a family can be a really rewarding and enjoyable experience. There's times when we can get creative in the kitchen, try new recipes and take real pleasure from experimenting and trying new things. Other times, cooking in the kitchen can be relaxing, cooking our favourite foods and seeing the pleasure that it brings others. It can, however, also be a daily grind. Day in, day out, we have to provide for our families, making sure they've got enough to eat, that they like the food that we give them, that they're not bored of it, and most of all, that it fits to our budget. So when cooking for a family, here are my key considerations. Number 1, planning. Plan your meals and write a weekly shopping list. It's the proven method for the best way to keep to a budget, maximise your ingredients and avoid food waste. It's also a great way of creating meal variety and a healthy balance throughout the week, when you consider your balance of meat and vegetarian dishes and also the types of cuisine. You don't want to be eating pasta every day. It's also a good way of being able to resist the special offers that you see in the supermarket that can actually end up costing you more. 2. Budget. How to make the most out of your money. 3. Variety. We all have our go-to recipes, but after a while they can become a bit boring. So simple ways to switch it up a bit is useful. 4. Workload and time constraints. When we've got so much in our lives that we have to juggle, it's really important to find ways to be efficient in the kitchen. 5. Eat less meat. As a nation of meat lovers, it's well known that we need to reduce the amount of meat that we eat in order to improve our health and to improve the health of our planet as well. Eat more vegetables. It's really important for your health to hit a minimum of your 5 a day target. And when cooking for a family, you might have to find sneaky ways of getting more vegetables into your meals. And remember, eating more vegetables is cheaper than eating meat. There are many recipe ideas and menu plans that I could share with you, but today I'm going to focus on mince. Why mince? Well, because it's the cheapest cut of meat. It is also extremely versatile. It can be used across many different cuisines and it comes in many different formats, such as
in pies topped with pastry, or with mash like cottage pie, in stews or curries, spiced up as in a chili con carne, or with spaghetti in spaghetti bolognese, or layered with pasta like in a lasagna, or layered with potatoes and aubergine as in a moussaka. It can be used as a topping like on a flatbread, or as a stuffing in a vegetable, or in tacos or wraps. Mince can also be formed into different shapes, such as in a burger, koftas or meatballs, and that's just to name a few.
You can half the amount used and bulk up the mixture using lentils. You can also disguise vegetables within the mixture. I am now going to demonstrate how I can save time by preparing 2 recipes at once.
Lentil and mince cottage pie and homemade burgers with added veg and fruit. The ingredients you'll need to make these dishes are 750 grams of beef mince, 500 of which you're going to use for the burgers and 250 grams you're going to use for the lentil cottage pie. You'll also need 1 can of green lentils for the lentil and mince cottage pie. The other ingredients that you'll need are 100 grams of peas, 1 kilogram of potatoes, 2 onions, 3 carrots, an apple and a handful of mushrooms. You'll also need 1 to 2 garlic cloves, 300 ml of beef stock, a tablespoon of flour, a tablespoon of dried herbs such as oregano, and 2 tablespoons of tomato puree, 40 grams of butter and 50 grams of cheese. You may also want to have some fresh vegetables to go on the side, such as a broccoli. The equipment that you'll need is 1 baking dish, 1 grater, a frying pan, 2 saucepans and a medium-sized mixing bowl. The utensils you'll need are a potato masher or a fork, a small sharp knife, a large sharp knife, a potato peeler, a measuring jug, and 2 wooden spoons and a chopping board. To make both recipes, first start by preparing the onions. Top and tail the onions and then cut the onion in half using the bridge hold. Remove the outer layer and then finely chop. It's easier to do this with the large cook's knife that you use with a rocking motion, keeping the point down. Add a tablespoon of vegetable oil to a frying pan and gently cook the onions for about 5 minutes. While the onions are cooking, start preparing your other vegetables. Start by peeling the carrots. Then top and tail them before you then grate 1 carrot for the burgers and then finely chop 2 carrots that you're going to use in the lentil minced cottage pie. Finely chopped up mushrooms make a great replacement for meat because they kind of have a meaty texture and taste to them. Also remember, when mushrooms are cooked, they tend to decrease in size as well. Next, grate the apple, leaving the skin on for extra nutrients and fibre. We're going to add this to the burgers as it will add natural sweetness that children absolutely love. Another way of disguising one of your 5 a day in a meal. Now we've prepared all the vegetables, let's check on the onions. Once cooked, divide the onions in half so there's half for each recipe. We're going to start by making the burgers. Add half the onions to the mince, then add the grated carrot, followed by the grated apple, with some salt and pepper. Finally, add the herbs and then give the ingredients a good mix through, making sure you break down any lumps of mince as you go. To make the burgers, get a handful of the mince and mould it in your hands until you get a burger shape. This mixture should make you 6 good sized burgers. Put the prepared burgers aside so you can now continue making the cottage pie. First of all, wash the potatoes and then cut them up into even sized chunks. Keep the skin on because the skin provides extra taste, nutrients and fibre. It also saves you a lot of time and food waste. Add the potatoes to a large pan, fill with water and then add some salt. Put on the lid, bring to the boil and then simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes. Meanwhile, you can start preparing the other ingredients for the cottage pie. Add a tablespoon of oil to a large pan. Then add the cooked onions, followed by the mince, and then stir these and cook these in the pan, breaking the mince down with your spoon, stirring it continuously and cooking the mince for a good few minutes until it is browned all over. Then add the flour, followed by the herbs and some salt and pepper, then your tomato puree. Give them a good mix through and a stir, and then cook over a gentle heat for a minute or so to make sure the flour is fully cooked. Next, add the beef stock, followed by the chopped mushrooms and then the chopped carrots. Give them a good mix through and cook for 5 minutes until the sauce is slightly thickened. Meanwhile, drain the potatoes and then add them back to your large saucepan. Put in some butter and then get your potato masher and mash the potatoes. Now we're going to add the lentils, followed by the peas, and give it a good stir. Don't forget to season it with salt and pepper, giving it another stir. Now the mixture is ready to put into your baking dish, and then top it with your mashed potato. Grate your cheese and then evenly sprinkle it all over the top of the mashed potato. To cook the pie, put it in an oven at 180 degrees for about 25 minutes. The best way to cook the burgers is to cook them under a hot grill. This way you don't have to cook them in any vegetable oils. Also, the naturally occurring fat in the meat will drip away through the grill pan. If you can't cook them under a grill, Then cook them in a frying pan using just a little vegetable oil. Be careful not to overcrowd the pan, otherwise it will make it difficult to turn the burgers over.
I've demonstrated how you can save time and add variety in your week by preparing 2 meals at once. You can adapt both of these recipes to suit your taste buds by simply changing the herbs or adding some spices. You could add an Asian flavour to the burgers, for example, by adding cumin and coriander. Or you could adapt the cottage pie recipe to make an African dish called a barbuti by simply carrying the mince and adding some fruit. We hope you found this video useful. To find out how to make any of the meals featured in this video, please download the accompanying recipes. Thanks for watching.